Good morning. Welcome to All Levels Yoga. You'll need a couple of blocks today and a strap. Let's just begin sitting, if it's comfortable for you, in some form of hero's pose like this. So if you want to bend your knees less, you could take one of your blocks, maybe the one at the front of your mat, and place it in between your ankles as high as you need. So the higher, the less bend you're giving your knees, so that you can sit on it like a stool. And of course, if your body is just completely saying, no, I'm not going to sit like that right now, then find a way to sit that's more comfortable for you. Let your toes point back, not turning out your feet. And bring your knees close together. Maybe they even touch. And take a moment here to place your hands at the lowest ribs, like you're holding your rib cage from the bottom. And as you firm down through your left and right sitting bones, take a deep inhale and lift your rib cage. You can even let your shoulders rise and tense for a moment. Feel that stretching of your lower back, the drawing in of your navel. Keep that. And now exhale through the mouth and release the shoulders. And now keep lifting your back ribs especially. And again, inhale, lift the shoulders. Open the mouth and roll your shoulders back and down. Two more. Inhale, forward and up. Long exhale, back and down. One more. Now as you let your shoulder blades soften down, maybe resting your hands onto your lap. Feel that slight lift of your rib cage, that slight drawing in of your navel as you lengthen through the crown of your head and offer space throughout your neck. So we started yesterday, Monday, exploring the second yama. It's a second component within the first limb of yoga. And the second yama is Satya, which means truthfulness. And so each day this week, as we did last week, we'll explore different angles of understanding or practicing truthfulness, both on and off the yoga mat. So here is a bit of an excerpt from Sean Korn, yoga teacher. Yoga means to come together and make whole. And it recognizes that there is no separation. Everything is connected. As such, the work we do on our mats, albeit personal in nature, is actually communal. Everything we do in the personal arena has import and affects how we show up for the broader community. If we want to be agents of change for all people, the work begins internally through our practice. This is much of the philosophy behind Root to Rise yoga. It's like that rooting in within your own personal inner work so that we can rise together and share that outwardly. So when we move with intention on our mats, we are able to reflect that intention in the world as well. Action begets action, change begets change. When we engage our past experiences, using our practice to walk through our preconceptions and involuntary responses, we can begin to interact with more mindfulness and intention, being proactive about our baggage, not reactive. Only by processing these inputs properly can we change our future responses and begin to enact collective positive change. As we often hear, be the change, like Mahatma Gandhi said, that you want to see in the world. Before you even try to change things around, let's recognize what's here right now. So if you feel comfortable, maybe close your eyes and perhaps set your left hand in the middle of your chest. Set your right hand just below your belly button and take notice without trying to change anything else. What are you paying attention to first? Perhaps it's a thought that's been repeating recently, maybe even a worry. Or maybe it's a physical sensation. Maybe it's something in your heart, an emotion that you've been carrying. So as we move towards any positive change that we want to create, first within ourselves, let's do so with empathy, acknowledging what we've been holding, how we are feeling authentically. So it's not to override or bypass that, but to work harmoniously with it. If our body is struggling in some way right now, perhaps recovering from an injury, well, how do we bring grace into the practice, honoring that while strengthening and offering a balance of challenge? So always working with what's here right now, not how we wish it would be. Truthfulness. Take a deep breath in. Slow breath out. And now if it's okay, let's create some heat and softly narrow the back of your throat so that you can also create a sound, a very soft whispering sound, as you infuse into the qualities of your conscious breathing that which you want to cultivate within yourself. Balancing effort and ease as you listen to your breath. So continue on with this Ujjayi pranayama. And let's stand. We'll leave one block at the front of your mat. Grab your strap and keep one block at the rear of your mat. And let's come to stand at the rear. I'm going to face you, but you can face the front of your mat if you like. And we'll just warm up the shoulders here. Separate your feet about hips width apart. And then hold the strap between your hands so your hands are slightly wider than shoulders distance apart. Keeping your strap straight, not loose. Inhale, raise your arms overhead, and then just pause here, keep breathing. Notice if your shoulders begin to shrug. If that's happening, you might widen the space between your hands, but keep a taut grip, and then send your shoulders down, hug your front ribs in towards your back body, and let your tailbone anchor downward towards your heels. Take another inhale, and now exhale, keep your elbows straight and begin to reach your arms behind you and all the way down. Inhale, arms up. Notice the shoulders remain relaxed. Exhale, forward and down. Now as you keep going at your pace of breath, you might start to feel your shoulders loosening up, and then perhaps you explore a little bit of walking the hands closer together. Just as long as you can maintain the integrity of your spine, not overarching where the front ribs start to pop out forward and the tailbone pulls back, as well as integrity in your neck as the shoulders continue to relax down, and keeping your elbows straight, not bent. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. And then from here, go ahead and place your strap close to the front of your mat off to the side, and then take the block that's at the rear of your mat. And we're gonna add in what we integrated last night, feeling into our mountain pose. So take the skinniest width of the block, hug it in between your ankles. Really firmly hug it. And then lift your toes. Try to feel your weight ground through the inner and outer heels. And as you're spreading your toes off the ground, feel the inner arches of your feet rise. Feel that activity in your legs. You should feel your quadriceps wake up. And now keep that activity in your legs. You can even start to feel the lower belly engage too. And now keep breathing. Spread your toes on the ground. Feel the big toe mounds really rooting down. The pinky toe edges rooting down. And then firm into the block with your outer ankles. So the outer ankles, stability here. Firming into the block, fronts of the thighs are engaged to slightly lift your kneecaps. Lower abdomen gently lifts in and up. Back ribs rise slightly as the tailbone descends actively towards the ground between your heels. Broadening your collarbones, Let your arms rest down by your sides, palms facing forward. And maybe even close your eyes, and can you feel this posture, mountain pose, also called equal standing pose, from the inside out. So after a while, we start to feel more and more of the alignment within each posture from an intuitive sense. Not so much telling ourselves, oh, we got to root this heel down, we got to turn this hip forward. But you start to feel it in the memory of your body and trust that. Just a couple more breaths here. Feel how your weight is firming down through the four corners of each foot, like the wheels on a car, two cars. Energy's rising up your legs, up your spine. Shoulders and jaw relax. Crown of your head is lifting. Now, just like with the strap earlier, keep your shoulders down and inhale, circle your arms up. Pause here as your palms meet to touch. Now, if you notice that your shoulders have shrugged a little bit, here's what you can do. You can bring your hands further forward rather than straight up. So finding that degree of balance, you're not overextending, and honoring the truthfulness in alignment. Hug in your front ribs, draw your tailbone down, keep your outer ankles firming in. Take another deep breath, get a little bit taller. Now bend your knees generously and exhale to fold forward. Shifting a little more weight towards the balls of your feet, either press the ground ahead or your shins. And inhale, draw your heart forward, firm your belly in. Exhale, hinge a little deeper from your hips. Bend your knees at least a little bit. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, adjusting where the palms meet so the shoulders are relaxed. Then exhale, trace your thumbs down your center line. Let's try two more half sun salutations. Feel your feet firming into the earth as you inhale, reach your arms towards the sky. Exhale, hug your belly in, long spine. Knees can bend any amount as you fold. Press with your fingertips and inhale, expand your heart past your upper arms. Exhale, fold a little more. Firmness in the belly. Inhale, rise. Top of the in-breath, the palms meet. Exhale, your hands together at your heart. So we're going to feel a little more of the stabilizing energy of mountain pose. And we're going to integrate that into other postures. So continue to hug your outer ankles towards this block. And now begin to lift your heels off the floor, finding your balance as your bottom front hug in, as your tailbone descends, and the crown of your head lifts. Tall spine, breathe in, breathe out. Now begin to extend your arms forward and towards overhead. Whoops, and you mount. Keep lifting your heels. Spread your toes. Outer ankles firming in. One more breath here. And then exhale, slowly lower your heels. Deep breath in, arms down. Exhale. So one more with this block here. We're going to add on. Spread your toes on the earth. Hug your outer ankles towards the block. And again, lift your heels. Lift your arms. Deep breaths. Keep your heels high and begin to bend your knees towards chair pose, just 1/3 towards chair. Pause there, breathe in, tailbone low, front ribs in. Exhale, bend a little deeper, another 1/3 towards chair pose. Inhale, feel the stability of your outer ankles. And another 1/3 bend. Front ribs in, take a deep breath. And then exhale, forward fold. Press the ground of your legs. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. And then crawl your hands forward. We're going to pause for a few breaths in plank pose, still hugging that block. And can we bring that same energy in the legs as we had in mountain pose in plank pose? So as you're hugging the block, firm your heels towards your back wall. Look at the floor in front of your hands and broaden your chest forward like half forward fold. Feel your shoulder blades spread a little wider apart as you lift the space between them. Lift the sides of your waist. Reach your tailbone towards your inner heels. Fronts of your thighs are active. And then exhale, set your knees down. Put the block aside. Child's pose. Bring your inner edges of your feet together. Knees can be together or apart. And extend your arms forward as we take a few breaths. Connect with your intention for your practice today. Remembering that it's really up to you to listen to your body and know when it's best to come down to child's pose and rest, or when to intensify or explore a little deeper. So we're going to re-enter plank without the block, but we're going to bring that same energy of hugging outer ankles together. Spread your fingers wide and flat. First, come up to all fours. Now take a look at your hands as your wrists are right under your shoulders. Spread your thumbs wide towards each other. Point your index fingers straight forward so they're not turning inward at all. Now press down, especially between your thumbs and index fingers. As you press the ground away, feel a slight lift out of your shoulders as you rotate your triceps slightly towards the wall behind you. Now lifting your navel, broaden your chest forward and lengthen your neck. Gazing on the ground ahead, tuck your toes. Straightening your legs, hug the imaginary block between your ankles, and let's take 3 breaths before we lower. Inhale. Exhale, lift the sides of your waist. Inhale, long line of energy from crown, tailbone to inner heels. Exhale. Deep breath in, glide forward as far as you can. And as you exhale, bend your elbows close to your side ribs. Keep looking forward, lifting the navel, broadening your chest as you lower all the way down. Pointing your toes on the ground, parallel your feet, and firm down through the tops of your feet, lifting your knees off the floor. Hugging your elbows close to your sides with your wrists alongside your floating ribs. Lift your shoulder heads away from the ground and inhale, pull your heart forward. Cobra pose. Exhale, come down. One more time, let's hold for 3 breaths now. Inhale, lift your shoulder heads, press your shoulder blades down your back, and then keep breathing in Cobra. Notice the back of your neck. Honoring length there, look slightly down. Notice the energy of your legs stabilizing and grounding you like mountain pose. Tuck your toes. Now you could use your knees on the floor for added support, but we're going to press up into plank. So lift your shoulder heads, look on the ground in front. As you exhale, draw your belly inward and press the ground away to lift. Lift your pelvis high. Draw your sitting bones back. Downward facing dog. Now give yourself a few breaths if you want to shift your body around in your own way. Let your head hang freely, letting go of any resistance in the neck as you raise your shoulder blades to stabilize onto your back ribs. Broaden them apart. Now bend your knees and lift your tailbone as high as you can. Firm your belly towards your back and then pull your hips towards your rear wall, sinking your heels towards the earth. Doesn't matter if they touch the floor. Knees can be still bent here. But feel those energies of lifting your hips and drawing your hips back. 2 more breaths. Now as you firm your outer hips towards your midline, try to create a stability, a sense of stillness in them as you inhale to raise your right leg slowly behind you. Exhaling, round forward and bend your right knee towards your nose. Pause here, take another inhale. Shifting forward, shoulders over wrists. Lightly as you exhale, set your right foot just inside of your right hand. Lower your back knee. Untuck the toes, come onto your fingertips. So here, scoot your left knee back another inch, maybe a feet to the mat. Keep your right knee directly on top of your right heel. And let's just spend a few breaths with the hands down in Anjaneyasana or kneeling lunge. Sliding your shoulders down your back, gaze forward of your mat, and broaden your chest. Keeping your right foot still. Give it the energy as if you're dragging your right heel back. And then allow your right femur or thigh bone to plug a little deeper into the hip socket. Letting your left outer hip rotate slightly more forward. Finding a balance in your hips. One more breath here. Now grab your strap. Really firm down to your right foot. You might walk your left knee in a little closer. And then lift your spine upright. So with your hands, lift your frontal hip bones. Draw your tailbone down. Find the squaring of your hips. Stability through your front leg especially. Holding the strap in your left hand, raise your left arm and dangle the strap behind you. Rotating your left tricep forward, bend the elbow behind your head, landing your palm between your shoulder blades. Reach your right hand behind you, grab the other end of the strap from underneath, and walk your hands as close together as you can, possibly clasping your fingers. Now, as you firm down to your right foot, lift your belly away from your front thigh. Let your tailbone reach towards the ground. Take a deep breath and broaden your collarbones. Lift your sternum. Exhaling, soften your shoulder heads down. Continue to lift through the back of your skull. 2 more breaths. Can you find that lift of your back ribs, like at the very beginning when we lifted our rib cage? Let your shoulder blades slide down them. Nice, and then raise your left arm towards the sky. Take hold of that wrist with your right hand. Lift the sides of your torso. Keep your right foot still and side bend to your right for a few breaths. When you inhale, pause, ground through both feet, and lift your spine from your pelvis. And when you exhale, side bend a little bit more. Honoring space in your neck. And inhale, lift your spine upright. Place your right thumb to press down the very top of your right thigh as you stretch your spine forward down the midline of your mat. Exhale, turn your chest to the right. Bring your left elbow with your right hand to hook outside of your right thigh. Press your palms in prayer and make sure that your right heel is directly under your right knee here. Inhale, stretch your spine forward from your pelvis. Exhale, hollow your belly and continue to twist. You have the option of tucking your left toes, lifting your back knee if you like, and balancing the height of your 2 hips as you continue to twist. Let's take one more breath. Look down at your right foot and slowly enter plank pose. Legs straight or knees on the ground. 3 breaths in plank. Great feeling of mountain pose in your ankles and your legs, in your torso. As you exhale, glide forward. Bend your elbows to hug your side ribs. Now come all the way down for cobra, or flip your toes halfway down in chaturanga and coil your chest up to upward facing dog. Hollow your belly to lift your hips as you breathe out into downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths. Sitting bones rising and tailbone lengthening back. Firm your outer hips towards your midline. And inhale, slowly raise your left leg behind you. Rounding forward as you exhale, bend your left knee towards your nose and pause for an inhale. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists. Find buoyancy at your belly to softly land left foot forward inside of left hand. Set your right knee down, untuck the toes, keep your fingertips on the floor or on blocks. Now scoot your right knee back an inch or more. Get a little more opening into your groins and inner thighs. And plug your left foot still on the earth. In fact, give it the feeling as if you're dragging your left heel towards the rear of your mat, allowing your left thigh bone to plug a little deeper into its hip socket as you encourage your right outer hip to rotate forward. Breathe, expanding your chest forward. One more breath here. Now, as we enter upright kneeling lunge, you may want to bring your right knee forward just a little bit so that left heel stays right under left knee. Find your strap, root down through your legs to rise up. Take the strap in your right hand, dangle the tail behind you as you raise your right arm. Rotate your right tricep slightly forward and bend the elbow behind your skull. As your right palm lands between your shoulder blades, reach your left hand behind you underneath to grab the other end of the strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can, maybe clasping them. Now come back to your roots, literally feel the ground beneath and how you are supported and connected to that support. Lift your frontal hip bones, lift your back ribs, anchor your tailbone down. Take a deep breath in. Let your collarbones smile wide. Heart space floating up. Tops of your shoulders relaxing down. Lifting through the crown of your head. Let's take 2 more breaths. Inhale, raise your right arm, catch hold of that wrist with your left hand. Exhale, begin to side bend to your left just a little bit, then pause. Inhale, ground your feet and lengthen your spine. Exhale, side bend a little more. Feel stability through your legs as your left knee is stacked directly above the left heel. And inhale, lift your torso upright. Use your left hand to press downward into the top of your left thigh as you stretch your spine forward to trace the midline of your mat. Exhale, twist to your left, carrying your right elbow to cross outside of your left thigh. Bring your palms in prayer and inhale, stretch your spine further forward. Feel your shoulders releasing down your back. Exhale, hollow your belly. With stability in your legs, deepen the twist. Now, if you did so on the first side, you may want to tuck your right toes, lift your back knee and come into a high lunge. Be very mindful, if so, to keep your 2 hips balanced in height. Feel the strength of your right leg if it's straight, as though it were in mountain pose. Last 2 breaths. Look down at your left foot. Step into your version of plank. Inhale there. Then exhale, glide forward through a strong Chaturanga Dandasana. You decide to come all the way down or flip your toes. Deep inhale in your back bend. Hollow your belly. Let it lift your hips as you enter downward facing dog. Pausing there for about 3 cycles of breath. We're going to enter a simple flow, but don't let simplicity fool you. Use the simplicity to refine your connection between breath and movement. So as you sustain your breath and find a graceful transition between in and out, Let's integrate those qualities in and out of the postures too, without shortcutting. So bend your knees, look past your hands. At the end of your exhale, walk or float your feet together at the top of your mat. Now with feet touching perhaps, press your fingertips down and inhale, extend your chest forward. Exhale, hinge forward over your legs. Root down through your feet. Inhale, circle your arms just the amount overhead where shoulders are relaxed as you gaze up. Exhale, your arms down by your sides. From the top of this flow, we're going to go right into continuous movement. Inhale, sweep your arms high. Feel stability in your legs here. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step into plank or float into Chaturanga Dandasana, moving through your own vinyasa. Entering downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg back. This time, exhale, bend your right knee, turn out your right leg at the hip. Keep it up in the sky. Inhale, draw your left outer hip further back. Now exhale, round forward, knee to nose. Set your right foot down directly between your hands to enter warrior two. Spin your back heel down, heel to arch alignment, and inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise. Straighten your right leg and exhale, sweep your right palm towards the rear wall, entering reverse triangle. Inhale, meet your hands to the earth, step into plank pose. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. From downward facing dog, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend your left knee and turn open at your hip. Inhale, tap your right outer hip back. Exhale, round forward, bending knee to nose. Set your left foot lightly between your hands. Spin your right heel down, heel to arch. And inhale, rise to warrior two. Straighten your left leg, sweep your left palm overhead. Exhale, reverse triangle. Inhale, your hands touch the earth in plank pose. Exhale, continue into your vinyasa. Downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Cultivating intention in your breathing, intention in your moving, and intention in the harmony between. Let's keep going. Bend your knees, look forward. Bottom of your exhale, walk or float. Inhale, lift your heart forward. Exhale, bow in. Inhale, root down to rise tall. Exhale, standing strong in mountain. Same sequence. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Step to plank or float into Chaturanga. Continue through your vinyasa. Back to downward dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, bend the knee, turn open at your hip. Inhale, tack your left hip back. Exhale, round knee to nose, stepping right foot between your hands. Back heel down, inhale, cartwheel your arms to warrior two. Exhale, straighten your right leg, sweep back, reverse triangle. Inhale, touch the ground with 2 hands in plank. Exhale, lower into vinyasa. Focusing on that feeling of harmony between breath and movement. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale, tack right hip back. Exhale, round knee to nose, left foot between your hands. Right heel down, inhale, windmill your arms to warrior two. Sweep it back, exhale, straight legs, reverse triangle. Inhale, hands kiss the earth and plank. Continue at your pace of breath. Arriving in downward, in stillness, 3 breaths. We have one more of the same cycle. Let yourself be in a state of flow, marrying movement and breath like a moving prayer. Last round, bend your knees, look forward. Bottom of the breath, walk or float. Inhale, lift your heart forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, expand. Exhale, back to your center, rooted. Inhale, sweep your arms towards the sky. Exhale, bow in towards the earth. Inhale, expand your heart forward. Float or step back into your vinyasa. At your pace from downward, inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale, tack left hip back. Exhale, right knee to nose, stepping foot between your hands. Inhale, cartwheel your arms, warrior 2. Exhale, straight legs, sweep it back, reverse triangle. Inhale, hands to the ground, plank, flowing at your pace. Last side, downward facing. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale, tack right hip back. Exhale, knee to nose, left foot between your hands. Inhale, cartwheel your arms, warrior 2. Exhale, straight legs, reverse triangle. Inhale, hands to the earth, flow. We'll meet in downward facing. So we're going to culminate that vinyasa sequence here. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Forward fold at the rear of your mat. Bend your knees any amount needed to slip your palms face up under the soles of your feet. Let the toes reach the inner creases of your wrists. Shifting your weight forward, breathe in and expand your chest through your arms. Exhale, hinge forward. Completely dropping your skull, you might softly shake it around, loosening your jaw and your neck, perhaps fluttering your lips a few times as you breathe out to your mouth. Let your shoulders lift away from your neck, perhaps splaying your elbows apart. Weight shifting forward. Let's take a nice audible sigh. Deep breath in. Now set your hands down and come on down to your knees. Grab your 2 blocks. We're going to give our triceps a stretch, our shoulders some release. So place your blocks on their second level, the medium height across your mat, like a train. Extend your arms forward, rotate your triceps towards the ground, and place your elbows on the blocks exactly your shoulders distance apart. Press your fingertips into each other, hollow the center of your palms, and walk your knees back so they're slightly behind your hips as you trace your thumbs down the back of your skull towards your neck. Letting your head fall towards the ground on your side of the blocks. Lift your front ribs to seal in towards your back body. Draw your sitting bones back and lengthen the sides of your torso from your outer armpits. Let your shoulder blades soften away from your neck. Deep breaths. Now, if you find your elbows splaying wider apart than your shoulders distance, come up and readjust, as that can start to become counterproductive to opening across the shoulders. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Now, draw your belly in as you slowly rise up. Take 1 block and place it at the front of your mat. Take the second block and hug the skinniest width again between your ankles. And from here, pointing your toes back, lower onto your belly. Parallel your feet as you hug the block between your ankles. So we're going to prepare for locust pose, just regular locust, Shalabhasana. We'll start with arms down by your sides, palms face down, forehead resting on the ground. This is a great posture for many things, but here I'm focusing on strengthening this erectus spinae that really give the spine support intimately. So from here, as you're lying relaxed, let your inner thighs slightly spin towards the sky. Notice that broadening across your lower back that occurs. It might even cause your tailbone to tilt upwards. So in contrast, elongate your tailbone towards the block at the same time. So you want those 2 things happening in this pose: lengthening the tailbone back, inner thighs spiraling slightly towards the sky, and outer ankles hugging the block as you point your toes behind you. And keeping all of that, inhale, lift your legs off the floor, legs straight, coil your chest off the floor, and reach your arms back. Breathe in, expand your chest forward. Breathe out, reach your toes back. Inhale, maybe even attempt to bend your elbows like cactus arms. Exhale, at least 3 more breaths. See if you can lift the fronts of your shoulders forward so that your palms begin to face more forward without actually rotating at your elbows, just at your shoulders. Shoulder blades down the back, inner thighs spiraling towards the sky, tailbone reaching towards the heels, outer ankles hugging your midline. 1 more breath at least. Stay longer if you like. And let it go. Turn your head to one side. Breathe in. Relax your ankles, let your toes pigeon toe for a moment. Maybe even wiggle your pelvis side to side. Take a big sigh, maybe a lion's breath this time by sticking out your tongue and opening your mouth and eyes wide as you breathe out. Deep inhale. All right, we're going to do 1 more variation of the same posture, locust, also known as Shalabhasana in Sanskrit. So make sure that second block is nearby at the front of your mat. And this time, reach your arms forward straight so your palms are sandwiching that block, the block by its widest width. Now, without gripping the block with your thumbs, actually flatten your palms. Let your fingers come together. And then forehead to the floor, hugging the blocks. Inhale, lift everything you can off the floor. Out at least 5 deep breaths. Draw your shoulder heads behind your ears as much as you can so your upper arms are raised to the height of your ears. And you're looking at the ground ahead, not cranking the neck up to cause strain. Slide your shoulder blades down. Press your heels back as you point your toes. And then relax something. Can you find a sense of harmony between effort and surrender here? And when you're ready, place everything down. Let your toes pigeon toe as you relax your head to the opposite side. Breathe in. Open your mouth. Couple more breaths. So let's flip over onto our backs, right where we are. Take one of your blocks and hug it in between thighs by the skinniest width, preparing for bridge pose. Just one round of bridge. Arms straight down by your sides, close to your ribs. Slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. Spreading your toes like mountain pose, ground firmly through all four corners of each foot. Hug the block, ground your shoulders, and tilt your chin slightly back. On a deep inhale, lift your pelvis and lengthen your thighs and tailbone forward. Take at least 5 deep breaths in this posture before lowering as you breathe out. Slide your upper arms closer together underneath your rib cage. Maybe clasping your hands as long as your elbows are straight, not bent apart. Feel the energy of your hamstrings. It's as if you were dragging your heels towards your glutes, activating your hamstrings that way. And at the same time, release the flesh of your glutes towards the backs of your knees. And spiral your inner thighs slightly towards the ground. Feel your full breaths expanding into your lungs and abdomen. When you're ready, with an exhalation, articulate lowering each vertebra at a time. Once you've lowered your pelvis, put the block aside and separate your feet wider than hips distance. Let your knees separate just as much and move your arms out to the side so that you can drop your thighs to the right, your thighs to the left, a slow windshield wiper action as your feet remain on the ground. Breathe in. Now even slower, breathe out. Inhale, fill your belly. Exhale longer through your mouth. Now let's go ahead and let the thighs fall to the right in this open twist. Then point your left knee down the midline of your mat. Notice how this might feel around the left side of your hips and lower back. If you want to explore a little more sensation there, cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh, just above your left knee. Raise your arms overhead and catch hold of opposite bent elbows. Resting your arms on the ground as you slide your shoulders down your back. Breathe in. Even slower, breathe out. Couple more breaths. And at the bottom of your next exhale, uncross your legs if they're crossed. Step your feet apart, wider than hips distance, knees just as wide apart, and relax your arms. And drop your thighs to the left. Point your right knee down the center line of your mat. Acknowledge what's here in your right hip, lower back, which might be different from the first side. If you're looking for a little more sensation, cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Raise your arms overhead and switch, crossing the other elbow on top. Softening your shoulders down, away from your neck and towards the earth. Breathe in. Listen to your exhale, release to your mouth. And now, uncrossing your legs, a couple of options for a cooling inversion. If you'd like supported shoulder stand, a more restorative pose, you could use 1 or 2 blocks stacked and place them right under your sacrum and lift your legs straight up. Otherwise, If you know how to practice shoulder stands safely, you have no neck or shoulder injuries, go ahead and bring your elbows really close to your side ribs, root down your elbows, and begin to lift your pelvis off the ground with the help of your hands. Tilt your chin back, careful not to turn your head side to side once you've lifted your pelvis. Those of you in full shoulder stand, let your ankles magnetize towards the sky to create a vertical line from ankle joints to hip joints to shoulder joints. And if you were in shoulder stand, you may want to lift your legs overhead into plow halasana. Whether you're holding your lower back with your hands, elbows pressing the floor, even closer together, or you're interlacing your fingers on the ground like you might do in bridge pose. Now, as you begin to lower, you could bend your knees here, sort of round into a ball if you like, and then place your hands on your lower back and very slowly lower each vertebra at a time. Coming into happy baby, or drawing your bent knees into your chest and maybe rocking. Now, if you are in happy baby, ground your tailbone and shoulders and use that to help lift the spine again. Entering Sphinx pose, slide your legs forward to relax on the ground, feet close together. Bring your palms face down by your sides, then slip them underneath your pelvis. So you're actually sitting on your hands, scooting your elbows close together beneath you. Then begin to puff up your chest, tilt your chin back. Whatever amount, you might be able to bring the top of your head towards the ground. Take at least 3 cleansing deep exhalations through your mouth. And then ready, unwind. Bend your knees into your chest. Rock gently to one side and slowly lift your torso upright. Before we rest in stillness in Shavasana, let's enter a calming breath practice. Very simple one. So make sure that you're sitting comfortably. You might even want to prop your pelvis up on something. So this one is box breathing, or Vrita Samavriti Pranayama. And you can choose to breathe out through your nose or your mouth, but definitely breathe into your nose. And the count is 4 to breathe in. We'll hold the breath in for 4. Then it's 4 counts to breathe out. We'll hold the breath out for 4. And that's it. 4 inhale, 4 hold, 4 exhale, 4 hold. So you can continue at your pace, but let's begin together, resting your hands, palms face down for grounding onto your lap. Sitting tall, lift your rib cage, relax your shoulders and face. Let's take a breath to clear first. Deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, clear it out. And to begin, inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue at your pace. Now, as you feel ready, when you finish the whole cycle, begin to lower your body into Shavasana.
Faces of a human race, deciding who will pull the reins in the game, desire to play God. Thoughtful hearts will
Consider beginning to move your body if you'd like to ease up to sit, joining 5-minute silent meditation. And go ahead and set the timer now for 5 minutes. And as we sit in uninterrupted listening inward. Let's gently bring the palms to close together at the heart. And so we practice integrity in our bodies through physical alignments and moving to honor a state of balance. How do we continue that practice, that aspect of Satya, or truthfulness, in other aspects of our life? Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.